In your Forethought lesson planner, you can save lessons that you create as activities. Some ideas for the reasons you might want to use this feature is to bundle groups of TEKs together so you can quickly add them to a lesson plan. You can save a lesson for future use. You can plan a lesson before you know which date you want to teach it, so it's not so bound by a date. And it really has great potential for the work we do in our PLCs when we're answering that question, what should the students know and be able to do? So as you see here, I have the beginnings of a lesson here. I've chosen a standard, and I can choose to add this to my activity for my own use by clicking on this gear icon here. Any standards that I add to this lesson, or even anything that I type in my white space or attachments that I make, will get saved when I click this gear button to add it to my activities. Once you save a lesson plan as an activity, it's going to be linked. It'll be filed away under the first student expectation that's identified, and it will come up in your curriculum just like the other resources that are provided to you by the district, except you'll know that it's an activity you created because it will say My Activity after it. I can double click to open this activity here and click Use in Plans, and then whatever I had saved into that activity will automatically pop into my lesson plan. Next, I switch over to my Activities tab so that I can open up and rename my activity. By default, these organize by just saying Activity for Spanish 1. So once you create a few of those, you end up with a bunch of activities with the same name. So it's a good idea to immediately, when you create an activity, switch over to the My Activities tab, open it up, and you can change the name. You'll type the top of the activity with the orange text to alter the name of the activity. I can click inside and have my curriculum pop up on the right and interact just like I do when I'm in my lesson planner. I always want to save my activity once I'm finished with it. There's really no need to hit this publish button. Nothing will break if you do hit it, but also nothing will come from it. So we'll just stay away from the publish button for now. And also remember, you can attach documents into an activity so that when you choose to use it in your plans, it'll bring everything with it. So again, to add an activity to your planner, when you create the activity, you want to pay attention to which student expectation, which standard is listed first. That's like the file folder where it will end up being stored. So once you locate that same exact standard in your curriculum and click on it, your activity will show up in that resources box. If I created an activity, let's say in my pre-AP course or my social studies course, but I want to be able to use it maybe in my on-level course or my English language arts course. When I'm in my course entry, I can come up to this drop-down menu. If I want to get access to an activity I saved into a different course, all I have to do is switch which curriculum I'm working with at that moment. Then I can access the activity and add it into a lesson plan, even if it's a different course entry. If you want to just decide how to group your standards ahead of time, maybe you want to go in and bundle different standards together, choose leading standards and supporting standards, you can go ahead and get that done when you're first planning a unit and create activities where they don't necessarily have procedures or anything. Maybe it's just you've gone ahead and grouped standards together so that it'll be easier for you for the rest of the unit. You can save an activity with as little or as much information as you'd like. Whatever you do save will be accessible so that once you say use in my plans, that activity will automatically bring everything with it. Alright, to keep ourselves organized, sometimes people like to file their activities away in a common place, such as resources, let's say. I can click anything in my curriculum other than standards. I could click Unit Overview, Vocabulary, Resources, under my Unit Documents area. Basically, the reason I would do this is, for example, this lesson here, since Resources is listed first in my box, that's where I'm going to find this activity. So some people like to store their activities away under a common header so that they're easier to find. Let's say that you change your mind about which standard you want this activity to be filed under. You can always visit your activity from the My Activities tab, and when you right-click a standard, you can say to set as primary learning standard, and that will move that standard to the top of the list. Therefore, your activity will now be filed away under that standard. Alright, stay tuned to find out how you can share activities you create with your team. Next, I'm going to demonstrate what this really looks like in Forethought and show you how to share. Alright, I've switched over to Forethought so I can show you how this looks. So let's say I'm starting to plan my Social Studies Grade 7 unit. And I know my team and I, we really want to plan how we're going to group all these standards as we approach the lessons in this unit. And we've decided that to keep things organized, we want to go ahead and store everything under resources so that they'll appear down here when we click on resources. So I've double-clicked resources in first because that determines where this activity will be stored. Then let's say I decide that I'm going to group these three standards together in a series of lessons. So instead of always having to come in and double-click these three standards, I've got them saved together so that I can click Use in Plans and automatically add these things in. Once I have added my standards, or I can even type procedures or make attachments, I'm going to click this icon here that looks like a little gear. It says Add this lesson to my activities. It will always give you a confirmation screen. That's how you'll know it's really saved, and it'll tell you the title that it's saved it as. So go ahead and say OK. Alright, so now to find this lesson in my curriculum, I want to pay attention to what was listed first here. So I'm going to expect that when I click on resources in this particular unit, I will see this activity I just created. It's got those standards already bundled together. So if I go to a different day and click Use in Plans, it'll automatically add all of these in at once. Alright, but I plan to use activities a lot, and I don't want to end up with a whole bunch of activities that all have this same name. So I'm going to switch over to the My Activities tab, find that activity I just created, and I'm going to rename it. Something that will help me stay organized and locate the activities that I'm looking for. I always want to hit save when I do anything to an activity. As you notice here, my curriculum is on the right hand side. I could, once I come to my activities tab, I could decide, you know what, I need to see what process skills are involved in this lesson. I can go ahead and add more standards. I can type a procedure. I can attach a document. Hit save again, and that way if I want to use this in the future, I'll be able to add everything that I see here with one click by clicking that Use in My Plans button. I'm going to switch back to my planner just so I can show you how the name has changed. So again, where am I going to find this? I was in this first 6 weeks Unit 1, under Unit Documents. Under the resources is where I created my bundled TEKS for Lesson 1. And again, you can name that whatever you would need to keep yourself organized. Okay, so my activities are just what they're called, my activities. Mine. They're all for you. So we want to be able to share our activities with each other. So the best way to share our activities is either through a team or a shared planner. I want to go ahead, let me switch to a team planner real quick. When I'm in the team planner for Social Studies Grade 7, I have access to all my own activities in my curriculum, just like I did a moment ago in my personal planner. Make sure I'm in the right unit. I'm going to come to my first unit, resources, and I see my activity here. So I'm going to go ahead and say use in plans. Now I've added this to my team planner so that everyone else in my team can come into this planner and then they can click add this lesson to my activities, and now this bundling or this procedure, whatever it is that I've saved, my team members can also now save this to their own activities because I've placed it in this collaborative space of the team planner. Alright, whenever we copy lessons from anywhere, it only adds to what is already there. So we know that our district template can appear multiple times when we're involved with copying. This is an invitation to invite you to another video about default text, where I can show you a fancy trick for how to overcome this. But really, my advice for you is, first of all, don't worry about it. No one will care if they see an extra set of procedures, accommodations, and notes. If it really, really bothers you, just delete them once you've made a copy, or visit my video on default text and find out a trick for how you can overcome that. Thanks for watching.